Hi, everyone, and welcome to Plume Stream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. My name's Matt Buto. To my left is Brent Colville. Brent, the championship game episode, if you will. We have the D4 winning coaches coming in, game reviews, basketball returns, Moneyball, big episode. What do you think?
Yeah, exciting time of year, Matt. My favorite time of the year. Basketball is getting going here next Monday. Actually, some people have already started. You know, your middle schools and your travel teams and stuff like that. Excited today. We got the two championship coaches of
Yes.
Division 4, girls and boys. The Concord Christian coach Craig Anthony will be on today, as well as the Newmarket coach
Andrew
Dawson.
Andrew Dawson, yes.
Yeah, so that'll be fun to get to talk to them. I believe Newmarket's coming off back-to-back championships.
Yes,
Is that
two in a
correct,
row.
Matt?
Two in a row, yeah.
Excited to get basketball started, you know, with Flume Media and the returning of the Moneyball.
Moneyball. You know, we've been waiting for this episode. We've been waiting for this time of year for the soccer season, highly anticipating a basketball season. Both of these coaches have agreed to join us. The Newmarket coach played, one of the coaches played against one of our local teams up here, Woodsville, to give us some perspective on those games. Before we get rolling, any thoughts on the finals themselves? Anything that you were thinking of, looking at, planning to talk with the coaches about?
Yeah, you know, I was surprised that Concord Christian scored 3 against Woodsville. I knew they were pretty stingy on defense. They'd only given up 3 goals all season. But you know, I thought Woodsville defense would have been a little bit stronger. But you know, it is what it is now. And Concord Christian #1 all the way through, undefeated with a tie and 3 goals, Matt, all year. Can you believe that they gave up 3 goals?
Unreal. I know that that Matt Taylor wanted to keep them at 1 goal. Wasn't able to do that with a 3-0 loss. But when we come back, we're going to be talking to Coach Andrew Dawson from Newmarket. He'll give us some perspectives on the game, share some thoughts. I believe he joined us last season for his first championship win. A great soccer mind, a great soccer coach, and he'll probably allude that he had a senior-heavy team last year and he won a championship. Came back this year with a younger team and won a championship. So when we come back, Coach Andrew Dawson from Newmarket. Stick around. We'll be right back.
What does joy look like? At Santa's Village, it looks a lot like this. Visit a world of pure joy that's closer than you think, where it's always the season for smiles, for laughs, for family, for reindeer roller coasters and cookies. For a day packed with so much fun, you'll know exactly what joy looks like. Santa's Village, pure joy, family style.
Covering you at home, at work, and at play, George M. Stevens Insurance is the only local agency to offer personal and commercial insurance, as well as health, life, and financial services. With offices throughout the North Country, we service your complete insurance needs. As a trusted choice insurance agency, we research coverage options from the nation's top companies to ensure that your policy works for you. George M. Stevens Insurance, protecting New Hampshire and Vermont since 1882.
Located in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, the Maplewood Golf Club is an historic property offering an 18-hole Donald Ross designed golf course. It also provides a grand ballroom and parlors for weddings and events, corporate outings, business meetings, accommodations, scenic views, and on-site Ivy Chapel for your wedding ceremony. Now offering midweek and after-hours rates, the Maplewood Golf Club offers an exceptional quality at an affordable price. With a long and storied history, the Maplewood invites you to come and play.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Plume Stream Entertainment Network with Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. I have a special guest here with me today, Newmarket coach Andrew Dawson. Back-to-back championship games. Coach Dawson, thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Nice to be back.
Second year in a row, we've been able to spend both championship games with you or after the fact. Great conversation last year. I read a quote from, I believe, the Seacoast Online newspaper saying that you had a senior strong team last year, team this year, but regardless, championships for both years.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Thoughts on the game?
I do at the final. Tight game. Portsmouth Christian Academy is one of the most improved teams in our division. I mean, they've just these last couple of years they've come on gangbusters, and they just got so much better. Even as this season went on, there's good parity up at the top of our Division 4, the top 6, 7 plus teams. Just really anyone could win this, and we were just lucky to come out ahead of them. It was a 1-0 game, tied at 0-0 at the half. We were able to score in the second half and hang on for the win.
Coach, I just want to take a step back for the regular season, knowing that you lost some seniors, some leadership, older players. What was your take on the season? What was your plan? What are the conversations like with your team? I recall last year it was a lot of fundamental soccer, playing your game. What was it like this year during your preseason and the conversations you were having with your team? Just getting ready for the season on its own.
Yeah, it's a great question. Very different. The conversations we had at the beginning of the season were very different to the conversations we had at the end. As you said, we graduated 11 seniors from the previous year. They were highly motivated. 8 of those seniors were starters on that team that won a championship. I won't say it wasn't a surprise, because it's always a pleasant surprise if you can come out on top in the last game of the season. But after losing so many seniors, I think we really weren't sure what we would have. We knew we had some pretty strong talent coming in, some good freshman players coming in. We knew that the returning players, we had some strong returning players, but just one by one, they just started filling the holes left by those seniors. And so after probably 2-3 games into the season, I have a great assistant coach, Annalise Schmidt. She used to play in our program. We look at each other and we realize this team's pretty good. Like, this team could really do something this season.
Yeah, Coach, this is Brent Koval here. Quite a huge change in the dynamic there with losing 8 starters, but like you said, having 8 be able to fill right in, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it really was. It was finding the right players to fit the right holes, and we moved around. We moved players around quite a bit in the early season, but after probably halfway through, I think we were starting to get pretty set in the way we were playing. And by the end of the season, we had at least 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 freshmen starting games.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really exciting. We had a really dynamic duo. I call them the dynamic freshman duo, AJ Mulligan and Mairead Moore. By the end of the season, we're at 2 starting center mids.
No kidding.
I mean, that's the area of the field that you need to control, or you're going to have problems. And,
sure.
And they locked it down and were just fantastic. We're flying by the end of the season.
Now, Coach, how many do you lose this year?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have 6 seniors, but really technically we have 5. Because one of those seniors, Ella Gallion, ended up being our manager this year. Great kid. Just she scored the winning goal in last year's championship, and but unfortunately played a lot of basketball and picked up a few too many concussions. Just made a very brave decision to say, you know what, I just need to sit this season out. I missed some school because of the concussion syndrome, and I'm a young kid and I've got a long life ahead of me, and I can't risk that. So really brave decision. Very happy that she decided to stay with the program as manager this year. And honestly, she was like another assistant coach. I mean, she's just had a good soccer IQ, was very motivational for the younger kids especially, and so really good to still have her with the program. So she's one of the 6. So really, we graduate 5 senior players.
Wow.
Coach, it's difficult winning one championship. You guys have won back-to-back. How does your off-season look? When do you start doing the work? How do you keep things in perspective, not necessarily trying to win a third in a row, but continuing to play the game as you know it, as you're coaching it, and not only having a young team, but having a core group of young players who can play soccer? How does that look for you? What's next? What happens between now and next fall?
Yeah, it is. It's a really fun problem to have. I mean, it's not even really a problem. Having a good core come back of young kids that are now motivated. You know, they know what it takes to really win at the highest level in our division. I'm not too pushy and gung ho about off season. I'd much rather that the kids play different sports. To be honest with you, I think being well rounded is very important. I think it's easy to get burned out in one particular sport. There are some kids who that works great for them, but I'd prefer to see these kids play a winter sport, play something in the spring, and then really miss playing soccer. And then when it comes to the summer, I've been really lucky with the leaders that we have coming through our program, and they are very good self-starters. They wait until the July 4th weekend, and then the week after that, they start doing early morning pickup games. They do conditioning to get themselves ready for the first day of the season in about the middle of August.
Coach, that's really awesome to hear you say that. There's not a lot of coaches that have that same philosophy as far as playing other sports, but I 100% agree with you. You want a well-rounded athlete. You don't necessarily want just a soccer player.
And, Coach, I remember having this conversation with you last year and saying, you know what, we have good soccer players on our team, but we have better athletes and people that understand the game, but, understand themselves when it comes to physical fitness, working out those different muscles that other sports might require. And, it hit me when you were just saying to miss the game a little bit and to come back hungry, ready, and in shape.
Yeah, I think it's really important. You often see injuries with kids. Certainly, I see them during the season, and a lot of them are just overuse injuries. It's just sort of like a repeat injury, something that's been nagging. They picked it up maybe playing in the spring or over the winter, didn't really rest it, didn't do the right PT, and come into the season a little banged up, and it just never gets right. So, like I said, I would rather see them do different things, use different muscles, and really be eager to play soccer rather than, oh my God, the first day of preseason is coming up. Oh, I'm kind of burned out. I've been I've been playing too much already. We don't want that.
Coach, now we're up here in Lancaster, New Hampshire. I know Woodsville is a difficult team, a good team. There are some competitive teams up here. What are you hearing about teams like Woodsville and Littleton? Were you planning at all to play those teams that could certainly give you a battle as well?
Yeah, I would love that. The getting competitive games in Division 4 is sometimes it's a little bit unbalanced, right? There are some very good teams that we do play. At least half of our season is a competitive game. The problem is just distance, right? If you're the school or you're the athletic department and you look at how to schedule your games for the season, and you've got a bunch of Division 4 school programs within a half hour to an hour's drive, and then you look at some of these programs. I mean, it's a 3+ hour drive to get up to Colebrook and Pittsburgh. I mean, these places are a long way away. So what tends to happen is we tend to meet them in the playoffs because it's almost like two separate divisions within the division, right? There's like a northern division and a southern division, and all the southern teams play each other, all the northern teams play each other, and then when it comes time for playoffs, the seeding is generally pretty balanced. And so, so we, 2 years in running, we have to come up and try to play a really strong, well-coached Woodsville team. I mean, they gave us everything we could handle in that semifinal. Another one-goal game, a game that absolutely could have gone either way. We were lucky to get to score. I believe in that game, I think we scored in the first half. and then again hung on. Tried to get an insurance goal, but it never came. And then when that final whistle blows, you just take a deep breath and you realize, oh, that's what it took to move on.
Yeah, Coach, here at Flume, we've done a little bit better job this year of getting down to some southern games, and that's our ultimate goal, is to cover the whole state, not just up here where we live.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we were able to get down to Epping a couple times this year, and Sunapee.
Yeah.
So certainly you're not out of the realm of where we're traveling to.
Oh, great. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys next fall then, because we'll certainly have some more good games.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time. Right now we have head coach Andrew Dawson for the Newmarket Mules, back-to-back Division IV champions. Outstanding season. Congratulations, Coach, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank
take
you,
care.
Coach.
Covering you at home, at work, and at play, George M. Stevens Insurance is the only local agency to offer personal and commercial insurance, as well as health, life, and financial services. With offices throughout the North Country, we service your complete insurance needs. As a trusted choice insurance agency, we research coverage options from the nation's top companies to ensure that your policy works for you. George M. Stevens Insurance, protecting New Hampshire and Vermont since 1882.
It's a perfect day.
Hi!
Why is there a bank in the woods?
We try to be wherever our customers need us. All your banking needs here for you. Wherever you are in life, we want you to start your adventure with Pasumsic Bank. That's why there's a bank in the woods.
Huh. Wait, isn't that?
Oh, great customer. Keeps a low profile.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Flume Stream Entertainment Network. This is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent, Championship Edition. Special thanks to Coach Andrew Dawson from Newmarket, the back-to-back Division IV Girls Champions. And with me right now, I have Craig Anthony, the boys coach for Concord Christian, the championship game winner. Craig Anthony, Coach, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Now, Coach, we have the opportunity here to ask about a few questions, but I'm wondering specifically about this game over Woodsville, a very strong, difficult, good Woodsville team that was hoping to hold you to at least one goal. You leave that game 3-0 champions. Tell us about it.
Well, anytime you play Woodsville the last couple of years, the first thing that you're going to talk about is Cam, right?
Yeah.
He anchors that team, and everything that you do to prepare for Woodsville, you've got to center upon Cam. and he's just a phenomenal goalie, great kid. I'm a sports junkie, so I've seen him play hoops, and I went to the championship hoop game last year against our school, and I've scouted him quite a bit. And you've got to come up with something that some way to get the ball in behind him, because you just can't go in looking to play movement soccer and think that you're going to get something behind him, because he's a special keeper. He's a big presence back there, and you've got to have a game plan specifically for trying to get something in back of him. So we've watched more film than I'd probably want to acknowledge with Cam, and we felt going in that you had to get him moving, and you had to get him going side to side, and you had to get some pressure up there. Many of the games that we watched, he kind of moved around unabated in that 6 box with nobody kind of putting a little pressure on him. So we felt that we had to control the flanks and send balls across and get him moving side to side in the goal.
No, I totally agree with that, Coach. This is Brent Koval. Also, we've been talking about all year, probably nothing's very easy to beat him, but probably keeping the ball lower is a lot better. Trying to score against Cam.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Anything from the waist up, you feel, unless he got a bad step or something, that he's going to have it. He just positions himself so well, and his hands are so good that you've really got to try to mix it up in there on him. And as you know, if Coach Taylor's I have the utmost respect for him as a coach on many different levels. And he does such a good job of game planning and himself being so prepared. I mean, we've seen him game after game this year at our own games, him coming and watching us. Great guy, and he'll stop by after and say hi. But so we knew that if they go up 1 goal, it's an uphill battle from there. They'll pack it back and really force you to get creative. We do have, we were a senior heavy team, so guys were ready for this. We've had some disappointments in the years past, and they were really focused. And I try to tell guys when they come onto the program, I say, listen, when you get to your senior year, you should be a coach on the field. There's no timeouts. It's not hoops where we can call a timeout and make adjustments. You've got to be prepared to be able to, maybe make a couple call outs in situations and change some schemes. But those boys out there, they need to know what's going on. They need to be able to read defenses and changing of systems and what people are they're doing. And that's, we had guys out there that were ready to go. We had a good game plan, a couple different things that we were looking to be able to do based on what they did. I mean, it looked like they came out in a 7-3 against Littleton the game before, kind of unconventional, but it worked. And that's all credit to Coach Taylor out there. And just, you never know what he's going to do. You got to be ready for everything.
Coach, as you're watching the season go on and it's getting closer to the playoffs, up here we have Littleton, we have Woodsville, we have Gorham. Have had many conversations about those 3 teams kind of as the upper tier up here in the North Country. What are your thoughts on those teams? What does the season look like for you getting closer to the end? Is it going to be Woodsville? Is it going to be Gorham? I don't know if there were surprises or upsets, but it could have went in probably 3 or 4 different directions. How do you plan for something like that?
Yeah, really. D4 soccer, it's really strange, isn't it? I mean, you think you're 3/4 of the way through, and you think you know who you're playing and where you're going to match up, and then the next thing you know, Colebrook beats Woodsville.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
right. Or we went up and watched the match, Gorham versus Littleton, and I always preach size and surface. You get to a field. What size is the pitch, and what's the surface? And it can make the same team look like a totally different team from
Sure,
one night
absolutely.
and we watched Littleton and Gorham up in Littleton, and we kind of got there a little bit later than the game had started, and you know, Gorham was just looked phenomenal. They were moving the ball, and Littleton gave a good battle. And so much respect that we left there with much respect for Gorham and Littleton. But we just felt that Gorham moved the ball so well. They had a right outside back that really looked talented back there. And we left with a healthy dose of respect for both those teams. But Gorham in particular looked like they moved the ball really well, had good speed. We feel like we have some pretty good speed, and that we can, that physically that we can outmatch people. But we definitely left with a healthy dose of respect for Gorham. And then we went to a subsequent game. Gorham went to Woodsville, and again, size and surface, right? You go to the bigger field with the grass surface as well, but a big field. And I think that right outside back had suffered an injury,
Yes, he did.
whether it was the Littleton game or early in the Woodsville game. And so you put those ingredients in, and it was a totally different game. And Woodsville ended up what I would call upsetting Gorham.
Mm-hmm.
And so we left there again, kind of head scratching, but knowing that you got a Woodsville team that's solid with a great goalkeeper and a great coach, and a little question mark on what Gorham really was. Looking at them from the two different aspects. So one night on the smaller pitch, it was really wide really narrow up in Littleton, and then you got them on the big field up in Woodsville. So, I love Division IV soccer. I love passionate fans. We went to Sunapee, not to get diverted, but we went to Sunapee. We played them up there at their homecoming, and it was just rocking. The fans are they're passionate, to say the least, and we love it, and it just makes it fun for the coaches, and it makes it fun for the players. And I remember when we were up in Littleton, the boys, we were in our gear, and a couple of the Littleton fans mentioned the fact that we had a soft schedule, that we were a little overrated. So you can imagine that when we had the opportunity to meet one of those northern teams in the playoffs, that the boys had that, in the forefront of their mind.
Of course,
absolutely.
That we were said to be a little overrated. So I appreciate those parents if they're listening for the bulletin board material.
Yeah, Coach, I got two things here. The first thing, like you said, Sunapee, we were lucky enough to get to Sunapee this year and cover the Sunapee and Woodsville doubleheader. And the boys' game was a night game. It ended up going to 2 OTs, and it was a 0-0 game. But like you said, the fans were intense. Woodsville travels very well with their crowd. They're always going to be a factor wherever you go. But the thing I heard you say earlier really, got my mind thinking. We covered Woodsville Gorham. I believe it was the second game of the season. And Gorham really looked, they looked like they were in playoff form. But they were on their small field, and they took it to Woodsville 7-0. And we started this thing at Flume Media this year where we were interviewing coaches after the game. And we talked to Matt Taylor, and he said the exact same thing you just said. He said, hey, we got our butts kicked today, but wait till we get to the big field. It's going to be a different game. I know 7 goals looks bad for us, but just we'll see them at the end of the year, and we'll see the outcome of that one. So it's you're exactly right. The field does make a difference. And we talked about this a lot in our broadcasts coming up to the playoffs. That home field advantage, even though it's only for the first 2 rounds, is huge. It really is huge.
It's absolutely. I'm glad you guys say that, acknowledge that. I try to tell people that, might not be soccer junkies, that when you start the season, and these boys, these seniors, I got 7 of them, they've gone through it, and they understand that one game, one win or one loss at the end of the season it can put you from 1 to 6.
Absolutely.
It's huge. So every game is so big. that you just have to battle every game and scrap every win and every point that you can, because difference of we can go back throughout the last 6 years I've been coaching here, and you get there and it's all fair play and everything, but size, surface, and getting off that bus.
Absolutely.
It definitely plays a factor, and anybody who says it doesn't has never coached or played before.
No, you're absolutely right. And over the years I've talked to many coaches over the years that the regular season doesn't matter. Well, yes, it does. I mean, you play the regular season for your seed, and
100%.
And those 2 games are huge. You finish in the 5 hole. Unlucky for you. You got to go to the 4 seed typically.
Yep.
But those top 4 seeds are so big, and more so in soccer and than they are in basketball, I would say. But even in basketball, you got the fans that are kind of like your 6th man. But yeah, absolutely, and I'm glad you talked a lot about the size of the field and the surface.
Yeah. We I don't know if you guys follow, so the last year or 2, we get Sunapee in the quarters every year, and we literally thought we were on candid camera. I mean, I think that Jack does such a great job with Sunapee, and their schedule this year. If you're a junkie like I am, and you look at it, and you look at everyone else's schedule, they probably had a little tougher schedule than some of us. If you look at the top 4 seeds, and then you look at, they jumped with Woods. They took a back and back with Woodsville.
Yep.
And I think that might have made, that was a bold move. And, that they bumped down to an 8 seed, and I don't think you're going to get a coach in New Hampshire this year that's that's played them for sure, that's going to tell you that they're an 8 seed. And so, they're tough, well coached again, just like Woodsville, and unfortunately we haven't had a chance to play Gorham, so we don't really have an experience with them. But that was we got the first round bye, and then you come out and you say to yourself, does the first round bye help or hurt us?
Right,
because
right.
You're sitting there for a week waiting, and obviously you don't want to take that first round game and get somebody injured or something. But boy, it's been a long time since you've been on the pitch, and then you walk into Sunapee, and we'd gotten them twice already this year. To beat a team like that 3 times is a tough hoe, especially in a quarterfinal game.
Yeah. When we had covered Colebrook, I believe, early in the season, and they had lost a game, and they were 0-5, if I'm correct. And then we kind of lost sight of them, even though we're in the North Country, and then they come back and they finish 8-8.
The last 5 or 6 they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right. That was a huge surprise for all of us up in the North Country.
Yeah, and Woodsville had a nice run at the end, and then it looked like the stars were going to line up for him, and then that, unfortunately, I didn't see that Colebrook game or what happened, but I'm assuming they popped one in early and backed it back or something. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, but that really hurt Woodsville. I think that that loss right there. They had a kind of a nice little run there at the end, but speaking of size and field, we'd watched Epping. We'd gone over to Epping and watched them over on their field play Holy Family. And, the coach over there does a great job as well. He's a great coach. And we walked away and said, boy, their goalie, they got a real good keeper, real good young keeper. And then they got some really talented kids, but they looked a little smaller,
Yep.
And so we watched quite a bit of film on them before our semifinal game. But boy, hats off to them again, size and surface. When we got them on the semifinal game down at Memorial, those kids could go, and I think that bigger surface actually helped their number 5 there, Twombly, I think his name is. That kid had serious wheels and could run as fast with the ball as he could without it.
Yeah,
and he put the pressure on our defense. We knew where he was at all times. That's for sure. And so that was a hard fought game. I mean, obviously you're in the semifinals, it's going to be a tough game, but I would be I'd be remiss if I didn't say that they were a lot tougher team, both physically, mentally, all 3, skill wise. They were a lot tougher than what we had anticipated. Although we knew they were a good team and we'd have to play really well against them. Total hats off to Epping. They were a real good team all the way around, and really young. So look out for Epping next year.
Mm.
And again, we have Coach Craig Anthony, the boys coach of Concord Christian, championship champions for Division 4 with a 3-0 win over Woodsville. Coach, what's next for you guys? What's the off season look like? What are you thinking of for next year? I know it's a long ways away, but my guess is you've already started thinking of that. What's the plan?
Yeah, I watched your broadcast, and you were talking about one of the girls' teams that said that they never stop, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're at. When I started 6 years ago, they asked me if I would coach, and at the beginning of the summer, I said, I'm kind of busy, but if at the end of the summer you need someone, let me know, and I'll help you out. Well, of course, they needed someone. I said, there's only one restriction. It's you get me and you get my whole family. I have 3 kids and my wife.
Yeah.
And I said, and when I do something, I'm 100% in. So that's kind of how our program goes. Is we're doing something all year round, whether it's training. The boys are playing indoor, and so we're looking ahead. We graduate 7 seniors. Got a good middle school program, but they're young. Our middle school players are young, and so we'll regroup, and we'll get ready in the spring, and a lot of training and skill work, and we'll just come back out with a healthy respect for everyone. And at the end of the day, it's a program that we try to run. It's on the field, off the field, trying to develop these boys into men, and give them a good start in life. And whether they go on to play at the next level or not, we'd like to have a total program, and we like to think of ourselves as a family. So trying to get a lot of these guys that are graduating at the next level, because there are a lot of guys in this class that we have that want to play at the next level. So we really try to help them out and get them to ID camps up and down the seacoast, and get them at the appropriate level and at the appropriate school for them, so that they have the best chance possible going forward. Because I think as a coach of varsity, I take that seriously, that you're not just trying to, your relationship doesn't stop when the final whistle blows. They've given a lot to the school, to the program, and we try to stick with them and give back to them as they go out, and try to make a life for themselves.
Coach, glad to hear you glad to hear you say that. I am in the similar boat as you. I coach girls basketball at Lisbon now. I was at White Mountains for years. But yeah, you're right. It's a family thing. My kids play sports, but it's hard for me to see them show up at my games after they're doing their thing, and instead of meeting them back at home, but they're always there. And it is a full-time commitment, and it's a program. You're not building. Yeah, everybody wants to win. You want to win now, but you're building a program, and you continue building that even long after these guys are gone. That's one of the greatest things for me being a coach, is hearing from former players, and you hear from a lot, and and just to check in and how you doing and what's going on in your life. That's the stuff that keeps me coming back year to year.
Oh, absolutely. We have we have a pretty good alumni base, but when we hear from them all the time, and on the chats, and then with the Instagram pages and all that stuff that we have. But we had 5 or 6 guys come back from Liberty. We got 5 or 6 of our alumni that are down at Liberty University, and flew and drove home for the championship game on Sunday.
Nice.
And it was
Nice.
For me, it was so special to have those guys there. They were part of our semifinal team a few years ago, and just true soccer warriors. Can't say enough about those guys. And when they come back and go out of their way to do something like that, it's a testament to the program. I say it's not about the coaches, it's about the players, and we try to give them the tools to create that family atmosphere. And for the last 6 years, these guys have really taken it and run with it, and it's a pretty tight knit community that we have in the soccer program here.
And that's another great point. We've talked about it on Sports Talk a bunch of times. Having people to look up to. You're talking about those guys that made a semifinal run. I guarantee you, these guys that made this run this year knew who they were. They probably looked up to them. Some wanted to be like them, and small towns, small communities. It's great to have that. And, in our community around here, we're on a run of baseball. And it just keeps continuing because we have all these kids that are great role models. And it's gone all the way down to our minor leagues. And it's just great to see. And then you're right. It's all a program, and it's all about the players and the athletes.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Well, Coach, again, Craig Anthony, boys coach for Concord Christian with a 3-0 win over Woodsville. Coach, congratulations! Just hearing you talk, we're not surprised that you come out on the winning end of this game. Not only building a good team, but a good program, and just generally speaking, good human beings. So, congratulations! Thank you for taking the time, and maybe we'll talk again next year.
Sounds great. Come down and do one of our game, boys.
Alrighty.
Love to, Coach.
That's
Thank you so much.
That's Coach Craig Anthony for Concord Christian. Again, their big win over Woodsville, 3-0, Division IV champions. Brent, when we come back, we'll finish up, talk a little bit about basketball, get some more of your thoughts, and then go from there. We'll be back in a minute or two.
I used to think college was for other people, but after a lot of hard work and thanks to an incredible support system, now I know I'm exactly where I need to be.
Just like you means when I walk into the bank, I feel like home. I feel like this is home.
It's a family. It's just small like me, but it's good like me.
Just like you, I know I have the support of the bank, and my clients have the support of the bank. And to me, that just has extreme value.
And there you go. There's a timeout. Oh, he wants to go layup. Goes up strong and makes it look easy. McKee trying to see what's open. Picks up the dribble. Gets it off. Give him two, and that's it at 1 point. Other down. Oh, MONEYBALL! Across the perimeter. There it is again. Power move. Leslie. Wow. Alec.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bloomstream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Brent and Matt. Brent, two outstanding coaches, Coach Andrew Dawson for Newmarket and Coach Craig Anthony for Concord Christian. Just by talking with those guys, they sound like champions.
Yeah, coaching in itself is a different breed than other folks. And I think that's how I get a lot of my wanting to talk and talk a lot. We could, as you said in the break, Matt, we could sit there and talk for hours with both of those guys, or any soccer coach for that matter. So much to talk about. Those guys were great. I really appreciate both of them taking time out of their day to talk to us. I'm sure they're both on to basketball season. I mean, I know Mr. Anthony's a coach in basketball as well.
Oh, is he?
So I'm sure, it's time is relevant, but, it's awesome to get the guys onto our show, Matt, and give them a little bit of press that they need. And
we were just talking with both of them. Like I said, just the conversation. It's more about winning. It's more about championships. They build programs. They build teams. They build human beings, and for them two in particular, it all comes together. All came together, and they won.
Sure.
And just the conversation about how the encouragement of playing other sports. Taking a break, getting hungry, getting bored or getting excited for the game, but working out some different muscles while they're doing it.
Yeah, no, I really liked how Coach Dawson mentioned that, keep the hunger alive, and if you are playing soccer 12 months a year, you're certainly not going to be hungry every single day. And switching sports, as we've said this on Sports Talk many times, it's a great thing for you, for your body, for your mind, for your soul. And
Because you're a basketball coach.
Sure.
And you're thinking, you know what, go play soccer.
Absolutely.
Because you're getting your workout. You're kind of getting some pregame, not pregame, but preseason workout.
Sure.
So if anything, you're like, hey, go run around on the field for a couple months. And
yeah, you're certainly getting some conditioning. Obviously, each sport uses different muscles. Soccer is more of an endurance game than basketball is. But you still want that endurance in basketball, but you need that fast sprinting.
Sure.
Is more. But you're exactly right, Matt. And both of those coaches, great to talk to them. I appreciate it. I just want to mention that so many times because it's hard to put this all together, and both of those guys gave us time with ease, and I appreciate it.
Congratulations to both coaches. Division IV championships, well deserved. Andrew Dawson, our second season with him as back-to-back champions. Can't thank you guys enough. Great stuff. Now we're on to basketball. A sport you know a little bit about. First things first, we are back. Sports Talk with Matt and Brent in early December. Season 4, basketball season 4. You'll be doing that with us. We have our basketball coverage that starts on 12/2. Moltenboro hosts the Engineers, hosts Woodsville. Moneyball is back for that game. Doubleheader. Girls starts at 5. Boys start at 6:30. It goes on and on and on, Brent. I'm almost as excited as I am for basketball as I was for soccer. You got it in your blood.
I'm a little more excited for basketball. Unfortunately, I won't be covering as many games, but I'm going to stretch myself very thin and do as many games as I can, as well as coach my own team. It's only going to benefit me in the end, right? I get to scout as I watch. We're very excited here at the Flume Entertainment Network to get basketball going, and Moneyball. Moneyball is always exciting. And that was a new
back to the community.
It gives back to the community. That was a new aspect I believe you guys started last winter.
Yes.
What a great idea. Moving forward. And I believe that 12/2 date must be the very first game in the whole state.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know typical teams are opening 12/6 as we are. So that 12/2 is a very early game, and I might be able to even go sneak down there and cover that one and view both of those teams because I played both of those teams twice. So very beneficial for me to make that trip.
And I know, Chad sent us the message. Executive producer said, you know what, we want to get a game early. I think we were going to do your game first.
Sure.
12/2 game pops up. Of course, Full Media is going to be there with all the wizardry that I like to call it for production. Good stuff. As a coach, I am going to ask you, what is your goal for your team this year, and do you have any bold predictions for the season that come to mind? You weren't anticipating this question, but I did want to ask.
No, that's a great question, Matt, and I don't have any bold predictions. I kind of like to see where we're at. I'm coming off losing 3 seniors. This is my second year at Lisbon. It took me about half the year to establish myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a while to get respect and give respect. Obviously I'm giving respect, but with the girls, and we've got that now. And after a couple weeks, I'll see where we're at. I think our goal personally at Lisbon this year is to get into the playoffs somehow.
Good.
We're young. We're very young. We are the smallest school athletic-wise in the state. I have 41 girls in the whole high school to choose from. So you give me 12 or 13 of those, that's almost 30% of the school. So looking forward to it. I love the challenge. And basketball is a different breed almost. It's you can be good at something. You can be good at your man-to-man defense. But I like to adapt. I like to play to the other team's weaknesses. So we'll change a lot. We'll do a lot of different things where, a lot of the good teams will say, hey, we're good because this is what we do. You know what we're going to do. Stop it. Well, on the same note, I am going to try to stop that by doing something different.
Yeah.
And you're scheming. I don't sleep much in the wintertime, and my brain's always going.
Yeah, geez.
And
you get all kinds of information.
Well, I love sports, and I love the North Country. I love sports of all types, even down in the southern part. But it's obviously I live here, and I get to know more of these kids than I do in the South. But it never stops, Matt.
Well, there you have it, Coach Brent Colville. Perhaps we'll change Sports Talk from Sports Talk with Matt and Brent to back to Sports Talk with Matt and Coach Koval. Thank you for your perspectives on the game. We will be hopefully having some in-game conversations with Coach here. Thanks for your thoughts on that, Brent, as always. Again, Sports Talk is back, Season 4. This time we're talking about basketball. Our coverage begins the very first game of the season, or the very first day of the season. Our basketball coverage will kick off on 12/2. Moultonborough hosts Woodsville, doubleheader. Girls start at 5 p.m. Boys start at 6:30 p.m. Moneyball is back. $3 for a three-pointer, right, Chad? So every three-pointer that's scored, $3 goes into a pot, and the money goes to a local nonprofit. Again, Flume Media, very aware and conscious of those types of things, taking good care of their community. We did it with most of our games. We're with White Mountains Regional last year, and I believe $400, $400 or $500 went back to the recreation department here in Lancaster, Coloneltown. Huge.
That's huge.
It's such a big thing. I'm hoping that Adam Wrightsman will be able to join us, because he does have the Moneyball kind of signature call.
Yeah, no, Adam's got great energy for the call of basketball.
He does.
And he does a great job. Tune in to flumestream.com, anytime to view these games. And just the regular Flume site. If you click on the live button, you will find what you're looking for, folks.
And there you have it. Our soccer season is complete. This was the championship game episode. Thank you to both coaches for joining us today. We are looking forward to an outstanding basketball season. Again, Sports Talk is back. My name's Matt Buto. This is Coach Brent Koval. For Chad and Adam behind the scenes, this is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. We'll see you soon. Get ready for basketball season.
Definitely showing. He's going to have a timeout, a full timeout. Back to LeBounty. It's Neal. Moneyball, cha-ching!